What's up you guys, and welcome back to another Reddit reading video. We've been getting some comments lately about my reading, and hopefully pretty soon I'll have my braces off next month if we keep our fingers crossed. And also, I'm gonna try reading these stories one at a time and then take a short little break in between so, you know, my mouth can get some time to like re-salivate so I don't have to keep drinking water in between every goddamn paragraph. So hopefully these stories will go better. Let's try and keep the quality great on the stories. Oh yeah, this is Ultimate Revenge Challenge, Petty Revenge, ProRevenge, Nuclear Revenge. Let's get it. Don't touch Grandpa's OJ. When my grandpa was alive, he owned a house with some property, enough acreage to put some trailers on it, and rented them out. Unfortunately, some tenants can be some real McJerkholes, and a couple of his trailers was full of such jerkholes. You know, the types, noisy, messy, late with the rent, etc. Granddaddy was one of those angels on earth, give you the shirt off his back and everything. He certainly didn't deserve those screws treatment and was still patient with him. The worst thing they did was come into his house, his personal property, and raid his fridge. I absolutely feel if those people needed food help and asked, he would have given it to them. But really, the way my mom tells it, these people were just snacking. And guess what? He didn't do anything about it at all. He just let them come and go and didn't say a word. Until they made the fateful mistake of drinking all of his orange juice. Oh, no. Do not leave no orange juice for my grandpa. It was time to teach a lesson. So without hesitation, he produced a powerful laxative and spiked the next orange juice carton. They tell me it seemed like those people had green apple splatters for 2 days and never raided the fridge again. Ew, green apple splatter? Who describes it like that? Disgusting. Awesome job to Grandpa though for finally standing up for himself. I can't stand when people just tread on people that are like soft-spoken or like aren't aggressive enough to tell people that they want something. That's kind of why I'm friends with introverts too. I'm an extrovert, but then I like having the back of my introvert friends, and I'm like, get off of their back, yo. On to the next story of ProRevenge. This was posted only 1 hour ago. Ex-boss tried to screw me on unemployment. I thought I'd celebrate my cake day with my best revenge ever. This is a long story, so just stick with me though. It's worth it, I promise. Backstory, so 20-ish years ago, I worked for a small non-profit. I had worked there for years and loved my job. There was less than 10 employees at any given time I worked there, including the married couple who ran it, and we pretty much always got along. At the same time, I also developed their websites, using a program called NetObjects as a side job. There was no way related to my daily work there. I was paid for the web work as an independent contractor. Well, the couple retired and in comes a new guy, George. I freaking hate George. Before they've even gone, he's just ripping them all over the place for no reason. It's not like they were a threat to him or anything. They had been successfully running this place for years, so they weren't as big of a jerk as he wanted people to believe. He was so toxic about everything. He ended up dividing the office into his buddies and then everyone else. You either kissed his butt or you got junked for it. He would come in and have the most inappropriate conversation about his sexual antics during his college days, how his wife is in bed, how much he could drink and still be okay to drive, etc. A couple of us complained to the board of directors, but they were going to throw out their new executive director over a little smut talk. Shame. I hated watching all the wonderful things we had done as a group die in a slow death under this guy. He didn't like me either, and it got to where I hated going to work every day, so I started looking for other options. I ended up going back to school and doing night classes. I kept it quiet at work though, I didn't tell anyone. It was pretty stressful. I had a young child at the time, and I missed her a lot since I worked all day and went to school nearly every night. I had been making it though, and I was about 3 months from finishing my program. One day, I got called into his office alongside the accountant HR person. He's #1 crony. I knew it was coming, and honestly, I was just relieved. Sure enough, they told me I was being laid off. They gave me a check for 2 weeks' pay with payment in lieu of notice written on the memo, a packet of information about applying for unemployment and education resources, etc. Then they told me I could clear up my desk and leave. They were both smiling at me like they had just given me a bonus. So I responded the same and said, "Oh, this is such a relief. I've been going to night school and everything has been so stressful. Now I'll be able to relax and finish my program without the stress. Thank you." The man turned purple. He was so obviously pissed, I was worried for a second he'd come across the desk. He obviously had expected a different reaction from me. He ground out his teeth that obviously my service as a web developer were no longer needed, and I was not to produce any more work. no skin off my nose. I hadn't figured to continue my web work anymore. Things were brought to a pretty quick close after that, and in less than 15 minutes, I left a place I had worked and loved for years for the last time. So life went on, I continued my classes and filed for unemployment. A few weeks later, I get a notice from my unemployment got denied. What? The paperwork said I had been fired. Well, that can't be right. So I called the UI office. The nice man I talked to found my case and stated that yes, George's written response did indeed say that I had been fired, making me ineligible for unemployment. I guess George had wanted a little revenge for me not giving him a reaction he wanted. I told the man about my packet and my check. He asked me to send copies of everything I had and would open an appeal. He said with the check memo, it was obvious I hadn't been fired and it would be straightforward appeal. But it would still take a few more weeks, and in the meantime, I have no income. Not long after, maybe a few days, I get a call from George. He says I have a new web developer, and they need my files in order to maintain the database. Otherwise, they would have to rebuild it from the ground up, and that would be crazy expensive for them. I told him all the files were uploaded to the web server. They have everything. He kept making comments about me withholding their property, and rather than try to explain the internet to this moron, I told him, fine, I would mail them a CD of the files right away. I went to my computer and got their website on my internet. I saved the entire thing to an HTML file, put it on a CD, and mailed it off. A couple days later, I got another call. He says he got the CD, but it's not what he needed. I told him the entire website was on that CD, but it wasn't good enough. They wanted my working files, and this time they had given him instructions about what to ask for. See, in NetObjects, you created everything you wanted for your website. You had to publish your creation in order to make the HTML files. So I basically had NetObjects file that was their website, and without that file, you weren't going to do anything to that website. But that file is huge, and it wouldn't fit on a CD. It needed to be backed up to be compressed, then I can send it to him. I told him it would take me a bit of time, and I've just been crazy busy lately dealing with my appeal. Did you know my unemployment was denied? He played dumb, like he didn't do that on purpose. So I asked him if I could possibly get help in that situation straightened out, because if that weren't on my plate, I'd have all the time in the world to get him the files he needs. Of course, he's happy to help. Right. We get off the phone, and a little bit later, the nice gentleman from the UI office called me. He told me that George had called him and told him I was not fired, that he must have put in the wrong paperwork for me. They made him rectify in writing that he had faxed them the correct statement. So my unemployment was approved, and I was going to be getting my first check, including my back payments, within a week. Whoop! Then George called me again. He said he'd gotten everything straightened out with him, and could I please run the backup ASAP and overnight the CD to them. I'm sorry, running a backup would constitute producing more work, and I don't work for you any longer. And I hung up. Never heard from him again. But less than a year later, he was fired and it was taken over by a management company. Oh my goodness, that is some good revenge right there. That guy got totally screwed, and he totally deserved that. What really sucks is that it was kind of a lose-lose, because she really, or he, I'm not sure, was that a girl or a boy, they really loved that job before, you could tell by how they described it and their managers and all that. And then like new management can make or break a job, really. Like anyone that's worked in like retail or like, you know, minimum wage or any kind of job like that where management is right next to you can honestly tell you that working with bad management can make you quit off the rip. Proud of this young fella for getting their good revenge though. What do you think? Was that pro revenge? Was that a pro move? I feel like yes, that was a pro move. The last one, actually, now that I think about it, the last story wasn't that petty. He kind of deserved to do that to them. Number 1, screw toxic managers. Number 2, on to the next story. Nuclear revenge time. Entitled engineer makes a mistake he will regret for the rest of his life. This is a story that I thankfully didn't witness, but my coworker did. An engineer relocated with his wife to a small town while he supervised a local engineering project. He had 3 daughters who lived in the neighboring city and would visit him constantly. While he wasn't exactly rich, he was considerably wealthier than the average habitant of his little town. This made him and his wife extremely entitled. He would do as he pleased and then bribe the police to avoid repercussions. He made himself infamous for cheating on his wife constantly. One day, he laid his eyes on a local 18-year-old girl. The girl didn't like him back, so she rejected him. One day, he got drunk and forced himself on the poor girl. He hurt her so bad. The girl was left in a wheelchair for life. The girl's father tried to bring him to justice, but the engineer used whatever money he had to bribe the police. What not many people knew is this girl's uncle was a local drug lord. The father and the uncle hadn't spoken for years, and the girl hadn't even met her uncle. But when the drug lord learned what happened to his niece, he decided he would have his revenge. A few weeks later, my coworker was working as a gardener for the engineer when the cries of a young woman caught everyone's attention. Outside the engineer's house were drug lord's men who had captured the engineer's daughter in front of the engineer and his wife. The men used machetes to cut off the daughter's legs. There was blood everywhere, but the worst was the cries of the 3 women. They were rushed to the hospital, but 2 of them bled to death on the way, while the 3rd was left, obviously wheelchair bound for life. While my coworker has since left the town, he says people told him the engineer's wife hasn't said a single word since that day. Edit, people have asked me for news coverage on this event. This story happened on the opening years of the drug war in northern Mexico, a time with both the government and the drug lords did everything within the power to keep the news like this from being published. I will try to find some and ask my coworker, but I can't promise anything. Oh man, that sucks. While that was happening, I was thinking this cannot be in the US. Like, there's no way you could get away with something like that. But man, it's a bad day to be that guy's daughter. Like, yeah, it was revenge, and yeah, it was nuclear, but they got the revenge like on the wrong person. Why didn't they do it to the dad? Jeez, it's kind of actually a sad story. Like, it's crazy that stuff kind of happens. I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to, word around some of the things they were saying so we could get monetized. By the end of that, with cutting off people's stuff, I don't think this video is getting monetized. Anyways, I read the story for you. So if you like it, hit the like and subscribe. Comment down below if you thought that was nuclear. Like, I really think that was nuclear. It is literally 2:24 a.m. and I just feel like making a video. So we're just gonna go ahead and do this. To you, it's probably literally like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you're watching this after I post this, it's probably 2 a.m. because we get a spike in our views at 2 a.m. So what's up, my 2 a.m. viewers? This sub was actually suggested. We got it from Aiden. Thank you so much for the suggestion, Aiden. We're gonna go over this sub and tell me if you guys like it. It's r/I don't work here lady. It's pretty much weirdo customers mistaking random citizens for employees. We're gonna start out with, is there a male version of Karen? I think I encountered the male version of a Karen. I was at a bank today and I was waiting in the lobby, waiting to speak to the mortgage lender. Though I do not work at this bank, I do work in the financial sector. Because of my job, I wear a suit and a tie. He, male Karen, approached me while I'm sitting at the waiting room. He must have assumed that I was an employee of the bank and started asking me about opening up a savings account, in which I replied, "Sir, I do not work here." He lost his mind. He started raising his voice and demanding to speak with the manager. The worst part is that his grandchild, I presume, were present when their old cranky grandfather started to throw a temper tantrum in a bank. I could tell you the grandchildren were embarrassed. One of the ladies behind the counter then moved to his direction to attempt to handle the situation, but he became even louder and more immature when she asked him if he could help. This jerk, me, told me he's not going to help me, and now I'm going to take my business somewhere else. Her response, "Sir, he does not work here." His response, "Well then who does?" Her, "I do." Him, "I want to speak to the manager." I cannot contain myself. I was laughing so loudly. What? How are you gonna complain that some random guy doesn't work here? Hey, that guy doesn't work here, so I'm angry. What kind of sense does that even make, sir? Cora Bell says they are known as a Richard, as the nickname is Dick. That's actually, that is a good name for the male Karen. I never even knew that. You learn something new every day, huh? After all this Reddit scrolling, you think I would have known what the male version of a Karen was, huh? This is like reliving my days back at Walmart, just reading these crazy customer stories. I did actually read a few stories beforehand just to like see what this sub was all about. Usually I don't do that, but this one I was bored and I wanted to read, and I think that's what made me want to read now at 2:28 a.m. Well, that only took like 2 minutes to read. The next story is, my daughter does not work here. Not sure if this fits exactly, but they were asking kids to do the job teachers should be doing, so I think it works. When my sister was in 2nd or 3rd grade, the teachers had this dumb policy where they would have the kids who were doing well in school assigned to help the kids who were struggling. One time, my sister was told to help a kid with spelling things. He decided to write a nasty note to someone in the class and ask my sister how to spell things. She didn't know what he was writing. All she knew was she was supposed to help him with spelling the right things. She never saw what he was writing, just would tell him how to spell words that he asked her. Anyway, he passed a rude note and was caught. When the teacher confronted him, he said, "Sister helped me do it." So my sister got in trouble as well, and the note was sent home with my mom, explaining that she was in trouble. I think it was like a written warning or something. When my mom got the note and asked my sister for the whole story, she was pissed. My sister was a good kid, and a bit naive. There is no way that she was involved, and the teacher had assigned her to help the kid with his spelling. My mom went into the school and yelled at the teacher in the office. She made it very clear that her kid is no longer allowed to be assigned to help other kids. If the teachers couldn't handle it on their own, maybe they needed to hire more instead of making good students in class do their job, especially if they were going to get in trouble for doing exactly what they were asked to do. OMG, that is like, That is like the worst thing when you do exactly what you were told and you get in trouble for it. That poor little girl, she was probably so confused. Okay, first of all, she's working off of the clock. She deserves a paycheck for that. I don't care what age she is. If she's doing a teacher's job, then what the heck? That's why they have like over-racial classes in schools like that, where you can only have a certain amount of kids to teachers because there's only one teacher. What they really should have done was just hired a minimum wage assistant teacher that could have helped the little kids that needed help. That's not, come on, $7.25 or up to $13 if this is in the US. That's not that much to help the kids learn instead of having some poor genius kids dumb themselves down. Not that the other kid was dumb, but these kids want to learn too. Kids want to learn. This one is XL, so it better mean it's really good, or that just means I'm reading a really long, bad story. I'm not Santa's elf, I'm just lost on the way to get to the Christmas card photos. The other day, my mother wanted my siblings and I to do some Christmas card photos. She had a nice list of what she wanted, and while it annoyed us, it always made her really happy when we posed for Christmas card photos as a nice family. This year, she wanted us to dress like elves. Well, us kids anyway. So I got into my elf costume. It's Christmas time, and I've seen a lot of stranger stuff than wandering elf this time of year, so I head to the mall. I am late, I rush up and look for the direction to see where I can find the photo place. Yeah, I should have been on time. I'm trying to figure out the location when I hear someone clearing their throat. I shuffle over a bit. Maybe I'm blocking their view? The throat clearing again. Maybe this person is sick? I reach in my coat pocket. Need a cough drop? I ask as I turn around holding up a cough drop. There was a rather annoyed looking woman. About time! Where's Santa? Demanded the woman. Excuse me? I replied. Where is Santa? Snapped the woman. The North Pole? Downstairs? Out to lunch? On a date with Mrs. Claus? How should I know? I said as I listed random things as I thought of them. The woman crossed her arms. Seriously? Are you just trying to mess with me? Growled the woman. That's when I noticed a small little girl dressed to the nines next to her. No, I am, I started. An elf? You should know where Santa is. He is downstairs, and we're in a hurry. Call him. My daughter wants to see him, growled the woman. I looked at this woman and to the little girl. I didn't want to burst the little girl's bubble, but I didn't have the time to deal with this. Oh, sorry miss, you got the wrong division of elf. I'm not a part of this appearance or guard duty, so I don't deal with Santa. I'm in charge of the reindeer. Vixen is picky, and I was gonna pick her up a treat. So I was trying to find the store on here for reindeer. You know, this place isn't very reindeer friendly. I started and began to yammer on about reindeer as I shuffled around the sign. Well, I'd love to say in chat, but if I slouch, Mrs. Claus will have my hide. Toodles, I said, and then legged out of there. I could hear her yell after me, but I didn't look back. After a bit, I found the photo studio and took the photos. I told my siblings about the whole thing, and my brother had this to say. Your own dumb fault for dressing like an elf. Maybe I am at fault. What? He had to dress like an elf. Well, that sounds like I don't work here lady to me, but that's funny. It's nice that this guy like went along with the little girl. Even though the lady was like a little Karen and a jerk, he still went on with the whole charade and acted like he was an actual elf. That probably the girl was probably like, oh, elves are still so nice and Santa is still real. And if you're watching this and you're a kid, Santa is real. And if you're watching this if you're an adult, Santa is real. This is actually a pretty good sub. I like these stories here. I've never had an encounter like this. If you've ever had an encounter like this, let me know down below. This is probably a very niche encounter. Not a lot of people encounter it. And then when it happens to them, they look it up and they find this sub and they're like, I'm going to tell my story. So if you had any of these encounters, just let me know down below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I actually really like this sub. If you got any suggestions, just let me know down below. I take pretty much every single suggestion that we had. If you want to watch some revenge stories or some compliance stories, view here, view here. We're going to be doing a Christmas revenge. All Christmas stories on all r/ProRevenge. Let's get into it, ho 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 style. So you want me to fire everyone at the Christmas party? Okay then. Many years ago, early 1980s, I worked for a company that did what I call mall molesting. They did market research surveys in the mall and were always stopping people to ask questions, etc. The company was run by 3 older women who had started it in their kitchen. They were opinionated, and no one had cared about anything but money. Part of this included paying employees not by the hour, but by the survey, which was against labor rules as it never matched the basic hourly wage. This is important. Christmas came. We were planning our employee party when one of the owners called and told us that in order to avoid paying bonuses, we were to fire everyone at the party and then hire back the ones that we liked after the new year. We, the other managers and I, talked about it. And then I called the Federal Bureau of Labor, who had been trying to get information for the employee pay for several years, but had always been turned away. I had them come to the back door and then let them into the file room, and then showed them the boxes. I then said I had things to do in the front and would be back later, and went to the front desk to finish the paperwork I needed. Said paperwork? A blow up of Santa going down a chimney with Merry effing Christmas typed across it. All of the management resignations and the FedEx envelope that would hold our keys and said paperwork. Labor guy finished what he needed to do, we locked up, sent the package which was timed to arrive at the Christmas party, and walked away. The company ended up spending about $250,000 in reimbursements and fines for the labor problem. That's exactly what shady businesses like this get. That's it's kind of a problem with small businesses. Some of them can be pretty shady and try to do things off the cuff to save their own pockets and not trying to pay out their employees or taxes or anything like that. Not saying that big companies don't do that too. Now, but what kind of ho would fire everyone at a Christmas party? How rude. You couldn't do it like a couple days after Christmas or something? And then hire them on the New Year? I don't understand where they're saving money at. I don't know if maybe because of pay time off or something like that. But why would you come back to a business like this where you're like, I can get fired at any time at a freaking Christmas party along with the rest of everyone else? Terrible business. 0 to 10. Exposing my sister-in-law over her hating my family with a bit of help from a Father Christmas. Throwaway because this doesn't need linking to anything or anyone else. Apologies for the long length. My twin brother, 25, has been with his wife since we were 15, and they've been married for the last year. Since day one, my sister-in-law hasn't been a fan of my family. She and my brother met doing the same after-school club, a club that my best friend happened to also be in. She always used to say that my sister-in-law always complained about my family, my mother, my father, and myself, and how we all treated her terribly. Though when she asked, she would never go into detail, because there was no detail. In fact, for the first few years of their relationship, my sister-in-law was the daughter my mother wished she had, which strained our relationship, unsurprisingly, but not the time for that. She was happy enough to be around us, and my parents always made sure to include her on the family occasions, such as our birthdays. Since we're all like 15 and moody teenagers, if it ever comes up in conversation, my brother sulking about something and throwing out a line about how he understands why his girlfriend never wants to be around, or me and my mother arguing, and me saying something about how girlfriend hates her, it's not taken as gospel. The years go by, and my brother and sister-in-law stay together through universities 150 miles apart, and move in together at about the 6-year mark of their relationship. I lived at home for a year after my brother moved out, and during that time I witnessed numerous occasions of my brother being around for dinner that both him and his girlfriend have been invited to, with just him attending for a variety of cheap excuses that have been cut short because sister-in-law rings my brother up telling him he has to come home because of X, Y, and Z. While some of these may have been genuine, every time he was around over half an hour, he got the calls and messages saying that her world was imploding if she didn't come home right this instant. I think my parents politely excused the behavior as young love because it was an obvious shun. My brother especially was cut off. Every month, she'd invite sister-in-law out for a girls' date, either with or without me or other family members, and was always told no. After the wedding, which none of our side of the family was allowed to be involved in, not an issue though, it was hurtful that we were told that nothing family was happening. Examples, dancing, speeches, but in fact were only on the sister-in-law side of the family while we just sat there awkwardly. I got a few messages from mutual friends of myself and my brother asking what the drama was between us and the sister-in-law, who had evidently been telling people that all night we had done awful things throughout the wedding process, and her new husband were on the verge of going no contact with us. Something we hadn't heard at all from my brother or her, since we were very much still in contact with him. Well, him. A couple had thought it was odd that she was saying this, and forwarded screenshots of sister-in-law telling them awful stories of complete lies about things that happened between her and us. My favorite was the supposed time when my father, the most placid man in Britain, stormed around their house demanding that they give him hundreds in cash to cover his gambling debts, while my mother threw salt around the garden trying to kill the grass. No reason for this given. My father has never gambled anything more than a couple of pounds on a lottery. They don't even have grass around their house to begin with. And most of all, my parents were both out of the country at the time that the sister-in-law sent the OMG, you will not believe what brother's family just did message to at least 2 of my friends. I'm not a petty person, and I didn't go around all guns a-blazing, but the next time I saw my parents, I said that it seemed like the sister-in-law was spreading potentially harmful lies. They did both say that they knew that sister-in-law didn't seem to like them, but decided many years ago to try and kill her with kindness, if only not to give her real ammunition against them. I decided to sit on what I had evidence-wise, unless sister-in-law did something major. The major came over Christmas. For years and years, my brother and sister-in-law had rotated between her family and my family. This year was supposed to be the day with my family, They live in the same town as both of their families, so it wouldn't be a massive journey for anyone to go anywhere. I live with my partner about a half an hour from my family, and we were also going to be spending the lunch with my family. Partner's family are from a country who do their main Christmas stuff on Christmas Eve, so we were seeing both sets of family over the period. We get there bright and early on Christmas Day to find her brother there, alone. I ask where her sister-in-law is, and I'm told that she's having family emergency, but will be over before the meal. No issues there. Family emergency or not, we all get prepping the meal, and my brother's phone starts ringing the whole time. He stops answering after a period of time, and a particularly long call prior to that went outside for, and confirms that it's sister-in-law. However, it's just her phone messing up and consistently calling the last number on the call list. A bit of junk excuse, but whatever. The ringing eventually stops. By this point, my brother's off playing with one of my dad's old cars and everything's in the oven, so we chill out for a while and look on social media at the easy cheesy Christmas present post. Myself and my partner are just scrolling away, comparing friends' presents, when my partner's screen comes up with a post by sister-in-law into a Facebook group called something like Murderous Mothers-in-Law Support Group. We assumed that we were blocked from seeing the sister-in-law's post, but she had let my partner slip through the net. It had only been posted about 5 minutes before. The post went something like this: husband is forcing me to go to his horrid family's Christmas dinner. They make me do all the cooking on my own, but tell me it's horrible. His sister's even assaulted me the last time I went to their house, and she's been kicked out of rehab, so she's back there again. I'm scared that every day husband is going to believe their lies about me and leave me. I'd rather kill myself than do this. Can I get some support, ladies? Utter poop. We all cook, with my father doing the lion's share if anyone could be considered as doing more than average. I've never been addicted to any substance, and like my parents had said before, they never said a cross word about sister-in-law to anyone, so she couldn't claim they did. This was it for me. I excused myself and went up to the office to print off copies of the message she had sent to friends previously, and the post of the group that my partner screenshot at my request. I printed enough copies for everyone at the table, 10 were in there total, and wrapped them all up in groups. I then stuck some labels onto them, as being from Father Christmas. I slipped them downstairs and put them under the tree, claiming there were some more gifts I had found, just to say that everyone there was an adult, so there wouldn't be any child there thinking Father Christmas was a jerkhole. The day continues. Sister-in-law arrives and apologizes for the delay. Everyone says that it's not a problem, and the food gets cooked, served, and eaten. We've always opened presents after lunch, so everyone gets set up with each other's presents, as well as the mystery Father Christmas present that everyone seemed to get. Everyone eventually opened the Father Christmas presents and started to read, before asking sister-in-law what she means by being a horrid family. My parents, brother, and sister-in-law all quickly open theirs and read them through. Sister-in-law goes as white as a sheet and starts asking her who did this, but my brother tells her that she brought this on herself and she's gone too far. My parents say nothing to anyone, and eventually sister-in-law excuses herself. My brother says that since the day they started dating, she decided that our family hate her and that she spent years trying to prove it, ranging from the order their names are written in cards to the number of potatoes she served at a meal. She obviously has no evidence since there is none. My brother had no clue about the messages or Facebook groups, but expected there to be many more. He decided to leave, apologize, and got in contact about half an hour later, saying that we were both at home and stable, since the kill myself part had worried my brother especially. I kept quiet about my role in this until everyone else had left. My mother suspected it was me, but said she was happy that it would actually be out in the open. I apologized profusely for ruining the day before we left. None of this was my finest moment, which I'm sure some of you reading will agree with. My brother has been in contact with my parents and me to further apologize for everything sister-in-law has said and done, and said he wasn't making any rash decisions yet, but they needed to sit and talk about everything. I'm sure some people think that this is sympathetic of a bigger issue of control concerning my brother and his life and might be justifying sister-in-law's views on us, but I did this more out of anger at the situation more than the person herself. And this is the first and only instance of my family being negative to her. I hope this has made her think about her choices, and that she can work on reasoning, and that she can work on the reason on why she lied to herself and others for so many years. Oh my goodness, that's a lot to unpack right there. First of all, this was 11 months ago, this was last Christmas, but my God, she is like a master manipulator. You ever heard of those people that just manipulate the person that they quote unquote love to try and do everything they say? You can tell this is one of those people, just fabricating lies to make up and trying to get everyone on her side, no matter who it is, trying to get sympathy. I've been with someone like that. You don't want to be with nothing like that. That is a terrible life to live. She seems like a horrific person, someone that you have to pawn off on someone else to get rid of her. I promise you, if they decided to get a divorce, she's gonna try and ruin that man's life, and he probably knows that too. You have to be an extremely docile person to try and deal with someone like that, or extremely accepting of someone else's flaws. I feel bad for that man. I feel bad for that entire family. The only person I do not feel bad is for that woman. Hopefully that guy gets a divorce. He deserves a break after 15 years of being with this ho 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 Santa style. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this Christmas revenge story. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you guys have an awesome Christmas and have fun opening presents. If you guys don't celebrate Christmas, then have a happy Kwanzaa, happy holidays, whatever you guys got going on. Everyone's different. Entitled parent tries to take my dog to the dog park. The cast: EM, entitled mother; EK, entitled kid; HM, handsome man, me. So this all happened like 3 months ago. My dog is a golden retriever, so she loves people and exploring. So anyways, my dog doesn't get out a lot, so when she does, she goes wild. I finally got to the dog park, and when I arrived, I walked in and let her off the leash. The second I did, she bolted away. The park has a 2-fin system, so dogs can't just run straight out. So anyways, after like 15 minutes of watching her run around with the other dogs, up comes EM with EK. I'm sitting at the table watching the dogs play with a couple other pet owners when EM walked up to my dog and puts a leash on her. In my head, I was saying to myself, please no, please no, please no. I tried to stay positive, but thinking that my dog was irritating hers, but I quickly found out that that wasn't the case. As EM starts walking to the fence with EK, I block her path. She replies with, can I help you? I'm trying to leave with my dog. Outraged that I was being downright lied to, I try to take the leash off my dog's collar. The woman replies, excuse me? I'm trying to leave with my dog and you're stealing him. For your information, my dog is a female and she's mine, is how I reply. The crazy woman starts shouting and screaming that I'm stealing her dog from her and for someone to call the police. But the people that I was sitting with knew that she was mine because we spent 15 minutes talking. They walk over and suggest that we call the police and try and clear this up. So after my newfound friend's call, the police arrived within 5 minutes. Excuse me, can we clear something up here? Yes, so I didn't get the fence before EM cut me off. I was at the dog park and this crazy person tried to take my dog. The others helped me out by arguing that she knows she's mine. Then I suggest a bright idea, that we can check the tag on her collar and call the phone number. The policeman agrees and leans down to my dog. He calls the number on his phone and look at that, my phone rings. I answer the call from the policeman. The lady was asked to leave the park because she didn't own a dog and was there for no reason. She tries to fight but ends up leaving. Long story short, I don't go to the dog park and the woman tries to take my dog. We call the police and the dog is proven to be mine. My goodness, I can't imagine if someone tried to steal my dog. Like, I don't even know if I'd be able to control myself. I love my dogs too much. They're like my kids. Like, they're just sitting here looking at me right now. I'm like, if I saw someone walking off with them, I'd just attack them. I'd go into crazy mode. Someone said you should have pressed charges. I know, I would have taken that to like the full extent. Like, you tried to steal. Like, dogs are seen as property in the law though, so you have to do like stolen property, which is kind of sad. They're not seen as like living things. Like if someone kills your dog, it's like they're damaged property, which is like, that's sad. I didn't know that one was so short. Let's read like one more little entitled parents. Entitled mother's OMG wedding speech. Short and maybe not so sweet. A couple years ago, an old friend from high school invited me to her wedding. During the toast, her new mother-in-law got up with the intention to give a speech. Now these usually go something like, welcome to the family, or I'm glad my son found love, etc. I'm not even going to try to recreate what she said, but she started out by saying the bride was incredibly lucky to be marrying her son. And then she went on a 15-minute long ramble on why her son was such an amazing, perfect person. Spoiler alert, it's because she raised him and because he respects his parents. She then proceeds to remind the bride in front of everyone that respecting your parents is the most important thing in a marriage. What? She also told her that now it's her job to take care of her son, just like she had taken care of him. Anyway, all the bride side of the party just sat there stunned. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law's sister was crying because it was such a beautiful speech. Wow, that is entitlement. That is one entitled mother. Now, I got married pretty young, and actually I still am young, I haven't been married that long. But what my mom told me was the most important thing was that we were in it together. Like what she told me is, no one comes above your spouse, to my wife, and to me she said no one comes above your spouse. Until like we have kids, if we ever want to have kids. Which I don't know if I want to, I don't know. Anyways, what she was saying pretty much is, it's us against everything. So like, you pick your spouse over a problem, you pick your spouse over your parents, you pick your spouse over anything. That was her, like, how she said that was the most important thing. That's what my mom told me. But anyways, that is going to be all the stories for today, but I am going to ramble just a little bit longer. I want you guys to be brutally honest. Like, do you not like this little moon thing? The way I'm talking right now, I haven't even edited this together yet, so hopefully this turns out better than I expect. If it doesn't, we can always go back to the old way. Either way, I'm probably not going to be changing my sprite on the channel, like the Reddit reading logo channel with the R's as my eyes. I probably won't be changing that to like a moon or anything like that. I just thought maybe we could spice this up and see how it goes. If it doesn't go good, we can always go back. If you guys have any suggestions for subs that you want me to cover, or like any topics or anything like that, just let me know down below in the comments. I take almost every suggestion that I get, honestly, since we're still pretty small. Also, thank you guys for watching the entire video. That helps me out so much. I'm recently monetized, like really recently monetized. We have made, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but $30. Wow, big money, boy. That's how we do. Anyways, I'm trying to start like maybe a Patreon or something, and like put people's names in the videos and like release my videos early on Patreon or something like that. Something to keep this channel like above the water and like being able to float by itself, so it's not just like me reading and getting 1 cent a video, which is a lot of my videos are made 1 to 2 cents. Sad to say, but I want to be honest with you guys. That's what it is. Like the 3 videos I have are the only reason that it's double-digit dollars, to tell you the truth. If you have any suggestion or any advice, if you know anything about YouTube, know anything about like things that I should be doing, or if you have like any suggestions on how I can improve. I know that I do like lisp some of my words up. I know I don't pronounce everything just right. Like my lips sometimes, this is getting kind of weird. I know I'm gonna ramble. I am rambling. My lips don't like close all the way all the time, and also like the lisp is because that's because of my braces right now. So hopefully when I get my braces off and I'm able to like have a retainer and just take it out, I'll be able to talk a lot better. I know 50% of the comments are pretty much people just cussing me out about how bad my reading voice is, or like how bad my voice sounds. I can't really affect how my voice sounds, but I will try and read more clearly, and I have been working on reading slowly. I do have a habit of talking really fast, so now I'm trying to like read slowly. Anyways, that is it for the rambles right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like, follow my Instagram account. Shout out to Eon. We're gonna be reading your story first. Thank you so much for submitting it in r/EntitleedParents. If you guys would like to, you can click the link down below and you can go straight to the story and upload it for yourself. On that note, let's get into the story. EA thinks my cousin is required by law to cover her nephew's medical bills for a minor injury that happened outside a daycare my cousin works at. Okay, I'm sorry if I don't detail much. I'm pretty much going off of what my cousin told me and whatever little bit I saw. Also, I think this happened around mid-August this year. Here's some context. My cousin, who I will call C, works at a daycare. It's one of the few daycares in our small town, and all of our members are really nice, so C grew used to this. Like I said, this happened around August. Entitled Aunt, EA, moved to our area a month before her nephews. EA didn't really familiarize herself with the neighbors, but I thought nothing of it. I really don't know why EA was taking care of her nephew exactly, but we only knew she had legal custody of him. She came in with her 4-year-old nephew, In, and told the receptionist that she wanted to bring In to C's daycare. Our receptionist, who legit has the patience of a saint, told her that she can absolutely sign up, and then directed her to head over to me to get the contract and agreements. So she came to sign them. She came over, took the clipboard with the contact, and then she didn't even think for a second to read it, but signed it anyways. Then she filled out the background of the child. Are you the legal guardian of the child? Is there any medicine that we have to administer to the child? Etc. Basic stuff. Usually, we allowed the first day as a trial day. EA comes back after the trial day, and presumably in a worse mood, and directs into the room where the first class was. Without paying, C, who was a worker on shift for watching the kids that day, asked EA if she paid yet for the season. She didn't, and she said to C that she wasn't told to do so for her first session, to which she tells her to go to the receptionist and pay, which she does, but angrily. She drops $10 on the table. Our receptionist points out to the sign saying 34. She then smacks a 20 and a 5 on the table. She doesn't take the change, and then blasts out the door. EA was bringing In for around 2 weeks, and once classes ended, she came somewhat late to pick him up. C usually lets the kids play in the playground across the street while the parents come. N was playing on the platform part of the park. When EA came, N was told it was time to go, so N was trying to get down, and when halfway down, trips and falls into the wood chips. Now, EA was there, so therefore, C was not technically the person liable for any injuries. EA ran to N, and he did have a really big bruise on his wrist, but he wasn't moving it. The EA picked him up and went up to the C, and here's what I heard. I was in the car because I was with C that day, and she drops him off home after work. EA, how dare you let N fall and get hurt? This isn't professional. You probably aren't even licensed. Now N's broke his wrist. C, as stated in your contract, we can't be liable after hours. EA, but you were here, and it was your daycare here. C, we have permission to use the park so the children are occupied when they wait for someone to pick them up. You weren't here, and it's after hours, so we aren't liable. EA, we will see about that, and then stomp to her car. 2 weeks will pass, and we'll get a call from someone we don't recognize. Our receptionist picks up to find someone claiming to be EA's attorney. He was asking for C, and when she picked up, she said it was a lawsuit filed. She was actually trying to sue the company for negligence and medical bills. Let's just say the signed contract backed up the daycare. We don't hear much from them anymore, and there was rumors she moved away. Dang, what an entitled jerk. How about you come pick up your kids on time? How about that one? Don't you just... I just feel so bad for the kids that have to live with moms or guardians that act so entitled like that. Like, what are you teaching your kid? You're trying to teach them to act the same exact way, and they're gonna have a tough time growing up just because you wanted to be a jerkhole while they were a little kid. So that was a story from someone down in the comments. If you guys have any of the stories that you want me to read during these videos, just let me know down in the comments. You can link them down below. I allow links in my comment sections. I'll click on it, read them up, boom, bada bing, bada boom, done. On to another entitled parent story. Eam demands a slushie. So, while I was a senior in high school, I worked in a Kmart for Xmas season. One night, at about 10 p.m., right before closing, a mother and daughter walked in. The daughter looked like she was in pain, and the mother makes a beeline for me. EM, excuse me, can my daughter have a slushie? A bit of context, the Kmart I worked in was one that had a pizza chain in it. When open, served slushies. Me, I'm sorry, I don't work for the pizza chain. I can't get you a slushie. EM, my daughter just had her wisdom teeth pulled, and she needs a slushie to help her with the pain. I knew that it would make her daughter's situation a bit worse by causing a dry socket, plus only pizza chain employees were allowed to turn on the slushie machine or any beverage machine in the section. Me, I can try, but like I said, I'm not authorized to turn on the machine. EM, just try. I proceeded to poop a cup and find a way to turn on the machine. Actually, I was just going through the motions. Me, I'm sorry, I can't find a way to turn on the machine. EM, well at least you can get her a soda or a water, my daughter's in pain. Me, I told you already that only pizza chain employees can turn the machines on in their area, and they are closed. You are welcome to buy a bottle of water before we close. EM, my daughter is in pain from her surgery and wants a slushie. If you can't get it, I will tell your manager. My manager arrived after seeing this on the camera, wondering why I haven't finished my closing duties. Asked me what's going on. EM, your employee won't give my daughter a slushie. Manager, well, he's not authorized to turn on the machine since only the pizza chain employees can do that, and they are closed at this time. The daughter and EM will walk off in a big huff. I felt sorry for the daughter at this time. Some people's parents. Some of these trigger me when I read these. I'm just like, that poor kid. Like, I just want to smack that lady. I'm like, not actually smack that lady. Like, I'm not violent, but you know what I mean. She needs to be slapped by somebody. Jesus, slap her, please. Anyways, that's what she said was totally correct about not slurping through a straw causing dry sockets. I had to get 8 teeth extracted, not because they were like rotten or anything. I didn't have a cavity, but I had to get my 4 wisdom teeth taken out, and then I have really big canine teeth. They look really similar to what a vampire's teeth would look like. They're really sharp and really big. I was just born with them, so they're the size of about 1.5 of a tooth. So they had to take out the 4 teeth behind my top and bottom canine teeth. So I had to get 8 teeth extracted all at once. They actually had to put me into like they had to put me to sleep because they had to like drill underneath my bone under one side of my jaw to get my wisdom tooth out. But yeah, this is the reason I have braces now. But long story short, at the end they told me not to slurp anything to a straw, not to like, if you smoke, you don't want to smoke any cigarettes because any of that slurping motion could cause a dry socket. So hopefully this girl didn't go home and slurp a slushie and smoke a cigarette at the same time. I've heard it's not worth it. Just do not do it. If you're a smoker, I promise you that little bit of waiting is going to be a lot easier than if you have a dry socket. But back to that story. This is the thing that I can't stand about people is like, why can't you understand like people can't just do things just because you say so? That's like going into McDonald's and being like, I don't care, get me a Whopper now. Like, lady, what? What are you talking about? Like, what do you expect me to do really? Some people have just always gotten their way by throwing a fit, and they think that throwing a fit can just get them anything. And that's how an entitled parent is born. I think that most entitled parents came from other parents that either let them be entitled as a kid or they got to watch their parents be entitled and learn that. Monkey see, monkey do. And yes, your kid's a little monkey, you entitled parent. No, I'm just kidding. The kid didn't do anything wrong. They were probably high on whatever they give you. I can't even remember what I took. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's probably short. I haven't even been recording that long. If you guys have any suggestions of subs that you want me to cover, just let me know down below. I have a Patreon down below. You can just look at it if you want to. Just look at it. I'm still just happy it got accepted. If you guys want to submit a story just like the person in the first story did, just like I said, link your story down in the comments. I'll click it. I'll read it. Doesn't matter if it has -5 million upvotes. I'll read it because thank you for the suggestion. I love when you guys interact and I love when you guys comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Wait, subscribe the video? What the freak are you talking about, Reddit readings? You idiot or something? Sadly, we're reading the first part of the first story again because for some reason the recording was not recording correctly. So, here we go. Oh yeah, before we start, this video was sponsored by Aiden. Thank you, Aiden. Really, it was suggested by him. Aiden, thank you so much for the suggestion. I'm pretty sure this is the second time you suggested a video. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down below. We do them. If at any time in the video you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into the video. I'm just a delivery guy. So I don't know if this belongs here, but I couldn't stop laughing. A little backstory, I work for a crate company, FC, and my job is to drive around town in a semi-truck with a 28-foot trailer with a liftgate on it and deliver items on pallets that are too big for normal mail trucks. So I'm delivering an industrial dishwasher to a new restaurant. I have to squeeze my truck through the alley to the back door like normal. I'm too big to park on the side of the road. I go in, the manager politely says, "We can't take that today. I was told it was supposed to come in 2 days, and I just don't have the room." I said, "No problem, I'll bring it back in 2 days." I load it back up and leave, which by the way is not easy to do because it weighs 700 pounds. Fast forward 2 days, I'm back behind the restaurant, so I lowered the liftgate, open the door, and head inside with the paperwork I need to show the customer. I look around inside and find an employee that takes me downstairs to the locked door where the man, rude owner, comes out and immediately stares at me and repeatedly interrupts while I say my opening line. "Hello, I'm from FC. I have, what do you want?" Yeah, I have your dishwasher." He abruptly walks away, so I follow him into the kitchen area, where he starts barking orders. Finally, the dishwasher pulled out and the electrical lines replaced, and the feed and the drain lines replaced, so you do all that and take your old one with you. This was supposed to be done yesterday, and we are open in 2.5 hours. Obviously, I'm confused, so we share an awkward stare which seems like an eternity until he breaks the silence with a, "Well?" I realize what's happening here, so I say, "Sir, I don't know if someone told you the wrong information, but I'm not the installer. I'm just here to drop it off." He did not like that. "I don't care what you're here for. I need this done now." All I can muster up is, "Sir, if you need it installed, you're gonna have to call a plumber." He then throws a fit and yells at me, saying I need to get down there before he calls my boss. This is where I get evil. You see, we have to get a signature on the delivery receipt to complete the delivery. Well, I had him sign off before it all happened. So, I go the 150 yards and 2 staircases back up to my truck. I get back in and lift the pallet with the jack. I drop it onto the asphalt. I load my jack back up and leave. As I leave, I see him come running out, waving his arms, and I keep going. An hour later, I get to the yard and my boss says, "You get a call from RO. He's pissed," then sticks his hand up for a high five. Nice one. Moral of the story, don't be rude to people that have the power to make your day terrible. Wow, this is like I guess it is I don't work here. He did work there, like delivering it, but he wasn't the installer. Yeah, I mean, that's a good, very, very good example of why you should always be nice to people. Like, you don't know what kind of power they have. It goes back to like whenever I was working at Walmart, where I was working in the money center at a Walmart, and if someone wanted to cash a check and like they didn't have like the junior at the end of their name, or if maybe they gave me their ID card and it was like any of the plastic was ripped on it, if they were rude, I would just deny them. I'm like, "I'm sorry, we're not allowed to accept any kind of messed up IDs," and they would be so upset. Like normal people, nice people, like I wouldn't care. Like even sometimes I do them a favor, they have a jacked up ID, I do it. But like really people, like really rude people that just came in there and were just stinky and nasty, fishy, stinky, I would just be like, "Ma'am, I am so sorry. Forgive us, but this is an invalid form of identification. We need one without rips, no tears. You can't have any kind of smudges. Here, it's right here in our handbook. I'm sorry." And like just being extra polite like that would just make them even more upset. Like kind of good times and not good times, because that job kind of sucked, but then again, it was fun doing that stuff. Okay, on to the next video. Enough about Walmart. The moment you realize a customer doesn't view retail as a job. I'm gonna preface this by stating that the customer isn't malicious, just ignorant. And this kind of story is short but entertaining. I wasn't actually confused for an employee, but it did happen with a customer I recognized at some place other than where I work. So I've worked at this grocery store for a really long time. I don't remember how far back the story is, but one Sunday after work, I decided to go to a nearby pizza place to get myself a small pizza before I head home. I don't order it ahead of time because this is before I carried a styrofoam regularly, and the place is like 5-minute drive from my work, so I'm not gonna go home to order it first. I walk in and immediately encounter an old man who shops at my store regularly. He never really comes off as senile or rude, but he's one of those people who has no filter on the way they talk. He recognizes me as someone he's seen before, but doesn't mistake me for an employee. Old man: "Oh, I'll get out of your way, cause your order is probably already ready." Me: "Oh no, I haven't ordered yet. I just got out of work and I came straight here." Old man: "Where the F do you work that you have to work on a Sunday?" He yells this while we're standing in the middle of a pizza place that in fact is open on a Sunday, hence why we were here buying pizzas. I hear a couple employees in the back grumbling something because he yelled this rather loud and sounded outraged at the concept of someone having to work on a Sunday. I don't remember what I said to him after that because I just wanted to get my pizza and go home, but I can't imagine what kind of logic was turning in his head. Not sure if he just doesn't view retail as a work and think they're all just here for fun and games, or if he views employees like some kind of magical extension of the store that have no personal life outside of the store. Okay, I know I said I was done talking about Walmart, but whenever I was working on a holiday, like Thanksgiving or like Halloween or something like that, or like even Christmas Eve, people would come and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they have you working. And I'd be like, I'm here working because you're here. If you didn't come here, I wouldn't be working. I don't know, like, you dang hypocrite. That actually shows you how little people think about other people. A lot of people get nervous and anxious because they think like, oh my god, everyone's thinking about me. But everyone else is thinking, oh my gosh, everyone is thinking about me. Everyone is so busy worried about themselves that no one really notices each other. That was kind of short, so let me look for another one. I forgot. I do work here. So I work for this company that deals with anything to do with transport. The most famous part of our company is a local moving part, biggest in my country, but I barely have to work with them or think about them as I work in an international transport. Most people don't know our company does do other things than moving. A year ago, I helped my sister who was moving out of house since I could get her a free truck and tools when to work on weekends. Since I was doing heavy labor, I was in my work gear with this famous company logo plastered all over. I loaded and unloaded the trunks since it was borrowed from my work and I wanted to make sure it stayed in pristine condition. So I was with the truck at all times, which had our famous company logo on the side. Random lady RL walks up. RL: hey, I was learning about the prices of your moving company since I'm going to move soon. Me, totally forgetting that my company does moving as well. Excuse me, I don't work for a moving company. RL, slightly confused, thinking that she's bothering me. I don't want to know too much, just how much it costs on an hour, and how big of a truck we need for an average move. Me, sorry lady, no clue, you might want to ask the actual moving company. RL left with a very confused look on her face. She kept looking back at me, I was confused as well, until I saw the company logo on my sleeve. Oh, guess I lost the company a client and some trust that day. Oh well. Okay, I know I already said I wouldn't talk about Walmart twice in a row now, but like since this is just turning into a partway Walmart video, since I worked in the money center, I would come through the front door, turn to the right, and would be in my little office area. And then I would walk out of there, turn to the left, and the front door was right there. So I never went anywhere in the store. And people would be like, do you know in what aisle I may be able to find a closing pin attached to an oil regulator? And I'd be like, no, maybe look in the closing pin oil regulator inside of the store and maybe ask an employee there. And they'd be like, well, you working at Walmart? I'm like, ma'am, I work in a money center. I don't even go anywhere else in the store. Okay, enough with the short stories. No one cares about Walmart. Anyways, what do you guys think about this sub r/I don't work here lady? These actually seem pretty good. The last one seemed like the most. Like, I don't know, I don't work here, but like they just forgot. These are like the middle one, like I don't even know what that had to do with r/I don't work here lady. It seems to be just like funny stories. Let me know if you guys like this sub down below, and you guys have any suggestions. Remember at the beginning, I take every single suggestion that comes in since we're still not that big of a channel. Comment your favorite ones down below and we'll go through them, even if they're just like picture stuff and stuff like that. Once again, if you like this video at any point in the video, like and subscribe. Today we're going to be going down the sub of r/space. But not just like down the whole sub. I want to go to this one picture specifically that it kind of caught my eye. I didn't read through it, but I did read the titles and I kind of got a gist of what was going on. And it's something I'm actually really interested in. And I'm not, you know, I'm not the kind of alien guy. I've went through stages of believing and not believing in aliens. This isn't one of those creepy Reddit stories or anything like that. But anyways, right before we get into it, if you guys like this video at any point in the video, hit that like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Why haven't we found aliens? An analysis of the problem. Now, this was on r/space. Don't get me wrong. This is on no kind of conspiratorial thing. These are actual like theories and hypotheses of what is going on in the world and what's up with this whole alien situation that the Earth is going through. Not that we're like going through something, but the active search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, has been going on for half a century. To date, no ET signals from stellar systems have ever been detected. Here are the popular theories on why this search has come up empty. Obviously, like the thing just stated, the following are the theories that actual scientists and whatever philosophers and smart people of our time and the times past have come up with on why we have not reached aliens, or why there's no solid proof on why we reach aliens. Whether you believe that there are aliens hidden somewhere and people know about them, or if you think that we haven't contacted them, this is what the general public has access to. Starting off, the rare earth theory. Basically, we're unique. The rare earth hypothesis argues that planets with complex life, like Earth, are extremely rare and that intelligent extraterrestrial life is highly improbable. Hence, we are one of a kind. Now, off on this note, I'll just go ahead and state the fact that I do believe in evolution, as I have scientifically come to the fact that I do believe that evolution is a thing. We've seen it since the past 100 years. There are obvious signs. Humans have sped up evolution. It happens. Now, the crazy thing is, humans weren't the only humans, and we weren't the first humans. Neanderthals were before humans, and Homo habilis, I think it is. And there was midget people, not like I'm sorry, that's a slur, really short looking kind of humans, but all those kind of ape-like people are all dead now. None of them survived, sadly. They're more Bigfoot-like and really smart orangutan-like than human, especially like Neanderthals, who didn't have as much brain capacity as we do. They were all intelligent. Now, how intelligent, we'll never know. But knowing that, we found weapons and cave drawings and stuff from Neanderthal people that humans didn't make. It didn't come from us. This was before we were even here. They used tools and they used fire. That counts as intelligent. They were able to create and understand and comprehend. And people think that they might have had some kind of communication system, my bad. And that just shows that there is other intelligence out there. We can communicate with dogs on some sort of level. Dolphins are smart, octopus are smart. Pigs are actually really intelligent. We can see that there's a different type of intelligent level, but as of now, only ape-like people or ape-like animals have been able to conjure up the intelligence enough to have, complex civilization like we do now. So what I'm saying is, do I think we are just so complex and awesome and so rare? No, I don't think that we are. I think humans like to think that because we are the human. We're the thing that we're talking about. Of course, we'd like to think that ourselves are. We are the one. We are the oneness of the universe that was made for us. No, we can't survive in 99% of the universe. None of this was made for us. We just happen to stumble upon. The next one is the Gaian bottleneck. They didn't survive. The Gaian bottleneck hypothesis by astrologist Dr. Ayeda Chopra suggests that alien beings are all dead. They simply didn't make it. Life forms on habitable, quote-unquote, planets failed to emerge quickly enough to stabilize the planet and pave a way for more life. This is what scientists and progressive people are trying to solve right now with the climate change and using sustainable things to try and keep us from bottlenecking ourselves into just destroying the planet instead of being able to upkeep. It's pretty much just a self-regulating system as the rest of the universe is. There is life and death, everything comes to life, and then everything will die. So there's no such thing as being able to keep on existing past being able to conjure up enough scientific methods and theories to reach other civilizations. Everyone is alone in their own sphere until they die. Do I think this is a thing? Quite possibly. We're on the road to doing the same thing ourselves, down the road of destruction. The world is getting better in some ways, but it's also getting worse in other ways. And unless the most intelligent creatures on this planet are the ones that are causing the most harm. So maybe the more intelligent you get, the more harm you cause, and by the time you hit a certain point, boom, there's no turning back and your world is gonna end. The next one is the Great Filter. Earth is subjected to the Great Filter, 5 mass extinction events, but nevertheless evolved complex creatures. What if all habitable quote-unquote planets were hit by a killer asteroid, scorched by solar flares, torn apart by geological uphills, seared by supernova blast or gamma ray burst radiation? And that of all worlds, only Earth successfully hurdled the stumbling blocks. The scary part is, hopefully the filter is behind us and it's not in front of us. All those could not be a part of the filter, and the filter is something that is so inconceivable to us, we don't know until it hits us. That's the thing about the filter. It's a filter for a reason. It grabs everyone, unsuspecting or not. Now, do I think this is a thing? Most definitely. Now, do I think that any of those are what would stop every other world? Definitely not. There's no way, there's no mathematical way that an asteroid and, geological supernova, this and that, could all happen to every single habitable planet. Especially if it's one not even in a solar system, just one single planet and one single star, and maybe a Jupiter, to stop it from getting hit by asteroids like the Earth, got. Maybe something like that. There's gotta be some out of all the infinity out there in the same exact situation as us. I don't think we're the one in the infinity. That's just like, the odds are so low to impossible. But I think the Great Filter is a thing. I feel like that actually is a thing. I definitely agree. The next is the Great Silence. Alas, we are not worth it. The Great Silence Hypothesis points that advanced beings who belong to a Type 3 civilization, on the Carver scale, able to harness the energy output of a whole galaxy, simply do not reach out to insignificant carbon-based humans. Why bother with the Type 0 bipeds? This is something that I don't think is it. I don't think that someone who is intelligent enough to roam the galaxy and take over an entire solar system would stop at just a solar system. If they could learn anything else, by intelligence sake, because they were so propelled by intelligence, I don't think they'd not take the time to document who we are, just as we will not even be half the intelligence as they would be, and we still document beetles and grubs that who cares. I think that's like a far cry from the other one. I think that instead of people, I think a lot of people see it as all or nothing, as in people see it as the universe revolves around us. We are the one, or we just are so insignificant that nobody cares. Like, people have demonstrated there's different types of blades of grass. I think if we can do that, they can look at each different planet and just go to it and be like, yeah, screw it then. The next one is the early birds. Earth had a head start. In a study, Dr. Peter Baruzzi said that compared to all planets that will ever form in the universe, Earth is actually quite early, and the last star that will burn out is at 100 trillion years away from now. And 92% of planets are yet to be born. We're the first, but not necessarily the last. And this is something that I totally agree with. I agree with 100%. I think that we are actually really early on the universal scale of the people that are intelligent. That's one reason why I feel like if any intelligent being is going to be the first one to actually move out there to try and contact the other ones, that it could possibly be us. But I think if we do find habitable planets that actually have surviving beings, I do not believe they'll be intelligent. The Earth has survived 99% of its years with unintelligent creatures and 1% of us intelligent creatures on it. So what are the odds that we find a planet that actually has the 1% time zone that we're looking in? It's very, very small. The next is not life as we know it. We've had it wrong all the time. ETs may not be biological beings like us at all. Noted astronomer Lord Martin Rees said they might be machines, not organic creatures. So we should be looking for solar harvesting, non-carbon based structures instead of listening to radio signals. That's something that I totally agree with too. If there's other beings out there, there's no, what's the odds that they're carbon based just like us? Like other people say, why aren't they silicon based? That's a totally, valid form to be. Why wouldn't they be that and, communicate in other ways that we can't communicate? There's senses that other things have on our own planet that we don't have. We don't have the sense of electromagnetism. Birds can see magnetic fields and feel them, unlike us. Other animals can see an infrared, unlike us. Other animals can see heat signals. Maybe if we can't even communicate with the things on this planet like they can, what do you think about other planets? It's totally plausible that there's aliens on another planet that can't communicate with us at all. A long road ahead of us. Basically, we've got a long way to go and a lot more searching to do. SETI has barely scratched the surface of the radio universe. There are many more wavelengths to scan, so we shouldn't give up hope yet. I mean, yeah, this is true. We have more radio signals to scan. I mean, there's nothing to say about that. But do I think, other planets are sending out radio waves? No. By the time they get out that far, it'll be so weak that no one's going to be able to even comprehend what it was. The next one. In a galaxy far, far away. 46 billion light years is the distance to the edge of the observable universe. That's really far. We've scanned for extraterrestrial signals to just around 40,000 light years from Earth. We haven't even outpassed the bounds of our galaxy, which is 100,000 light years wide. Alien intelligence would simply be too far away for our current technologies to reach. See, that's crazy. When you think about have we searched the universe? People say, we've searched the universe and looked for aliens. We haven't even searched our edge of our own galaxy yet. I'd be hard pressed to believe that there aren't other living things out there. I don't think we're special. I don't think we're the oneness. I don't think if anyone's the chosen ones, it's not us. Or we would have been born the chosen ones, not after that. I think the dinosaurs were the chosen ones. No, I'm just kidding. Do I believe in aliens? In a sense that are other living things on other planets? I'm 100% sure. But you can't say 100% sure without knowing. I can say whatever I want. But do I think aliens have contacted Earth? Heck to the no. A no. I think people undermine the abilities of the Egyptian people to be able to make things. I think you're really undermining the intelligence of humans and how they can create if you think that they couldn't make the pyramids. I think a lot of people have hallucinations. I think a lot of people are just crazy. The only thing that is, working for the side of there might be aliens but we can't see them today is because, no one catches, flying saucers on cameras anymore. But people are saying that our time is now so well documented that maybe they don't have a reason to come and see us, but they do have a reason to go and see, the 70s and 80s and back when there was no internet to just instantly know everything. Maybe everything is already uploaded on every file from the 2000s onward, so now nobody really wants to come and see our time. Maybe we're just not interesting enough. But I mean, that is also a theory, and I'm not very pressed to believe that out of my right mind. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments from this r/space thing. This did take a minute. I didn't even know that reading this would take this long. I got to talking. That happens. This is something I actually really enjoy. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think that aliens have came to Earth? Do you think aliens are just us visiting from the future? Do you think there are aliens out in the wildness of the universe? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this different kind of space and sciencey kind of thing. I am really interested in these kind of things. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope I see you guys next time, and goodbye, my lovelies.